It is time for Flames Unfiltered, hosted by Burud, Kyle Lewis, talking Flames hockey, and a hell of a week if you're a Flames fan, right, Kyle?
Yeah, that was fun. Well, more of that for sure.
It was kind of funny. Like, since the last time we talked, we've had 3 games and 6 points. And albeit some of the moments weren't the prettiest moments.
No.
How effective was this team in like some really, really good hockey games against opponents that are high quality too? It's not like we were beating up on someone like the Sharks or something. These are 3 good opponents as we knock off the Islanders 2-1 in a shootout. We go on to beat the Rangers 3-2 in a dominant game, I thought, for the Flames. And then yesterday sneak by the Minnesota Wild, albeit it shouldn't have been a shootout, but it was, and 6 points out of 6, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's there's some encouraging signs. All of a sudden, we got 2 power play goals yesterday. Martin Pospisil got his first goal since the season opener. Connor Zary has points in consecutive games, so all these concerns on offense are starting to at least lessen ever so slightly, I would say. So, but I think it was a good week.
And what's funny is, like, I agree with you on all of those things. The Zary, the Sharon Govich, all those things. But you know what really stood out to me this week in watching is something that the defense. The defense has been so smothering, and I was tough on Ball earlier in the season, and every game I watch him, I like him more and more. We are playing a structure on defense, and we're holding back quality hockey teams to very, very, very few shots. I believe, like the Rangers game, they did get 29 shots, but I believe most of those were in the third period.
Oh, by far, yeah.
Yesterday, I thought we held Minnesota, a Kaprizov-less Minnesota is a different team, but still, I mean, we saw Matthews out for Toronto, and Toronto actually worked better. Sometimes teams will play better when they're a key man down.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Minnesota was a tired team yesterday coming off the end of their road trip, but a team that's a lot like the Flames this year, a team that doesn't give up, right?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota played quite well, I thought, although, as you're saying, with defense, Calgary limited them to very few quality chances, which was great to see. It's funny, we're approaching, the end of November, and I still don't know what to make of this team. I mean, it's fun. And then last night you had everybody, tweeting the standings, which was prior to Vegas beating Montreal. So we were briefly first in the Pacific, but there's a lot of really, really good things happening. And this is a lot more entertaining of a season than I think any of us expected. Right. So, but you mentioned like the quality opponents. So, putting up 49 shots against the Rangers. I mean, that's a feat. Even if the Rangers are tired, whatever the case, like that's a feat. So a lot of positives.
I look and there has been a ton of playoff talk here this last weekend. And, you sit and you look where the Flames sit as we speak right now on a Sunday afternoon. The Flames currently sit 27 points, second in the Pacific, just 1 point back of the Vegas Golden Knights, who've rattled off 6 of their last 10 wins and have been a force to be reckoned with. But, we didn't expect this. I didn't expect the week of American Thanksgiving, which is this Thursday. Here's American Thanksgiving, and that's always been a marker point for an NHL playoff prediction type scenario, and who would be in and who would be out. And I'm going to screenshot those standings that morning, and we'll talk about it on next week's show. But we're there. I mean, we're 21 games in. That's a fair assessment of this team. I think we've got a hardworking team. I think we've got a team that has been doing it above statistical odds, which isn't always great. But let's face it, our defense and our goaltending is what's getting in here. We talked about the statistics offensively a couple weeks ago, and they're not good. But when we were struggling this weekend and we were able to come through with power play goals, which we haven't in the past, and some big penalty kills on top of that, and it results in 2 points, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to me because the team is much better than people give them credit for, and I don't see too much in their game, even statistically, that is not sustainable. I mean, the goaltending has been very high quality, but Darren Haynes actually had tweeted about how Dan Vladar had much tougher starts so far this season, which isn't to say anything other than how great both goaltenders have been, but I mean, Wolf has gotten so much attention. Vladar's been very good too. So those guys keep playing the way that they have been right from the get-go this season. The defense has been really, really good, and a few guys have been way better than people expected. Like you said, Kevin Ball, and of course Braden Bahal, who we've praised a lot on this show. And then as far as the forwards go, like Matthew Coronado, emerging the way he has with arguably the best shot on the team. Sharon Govich, who, it's funny, was a little maligned after he came back from injury, but now he's hot again and just shooting rockets all over the place. I just find it really, really funny that people have such a hard time believing this is a good hockey team, because a lot of it's timing. People are emerging at the right time. Ryan Huska, people are obviously buying into his message. Other than, again, we've talked about the need for another center. There's not many holes in this team.
No, we for sure need centers. I mean, no doubt about that. But you can't just pluck them off a tree. And I sit and I watch this. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. I sit and I watch this team, and they're far exceeding what I expected. But I'm also happy about it. And I saw a tweet the other day, and it said, "I don't understand how anyone can be critical of the Flames team. They are expected to be a bottom 5 team this season, a win tonight, and they are comfortably in a playoff condition near American Thanksgiving." And when I saw that tweet by Razzle Dazzle, I was like, you know what? I do have a hard time. I agree with them. I do have a hard time seeing the people who want the full teardown. How can you not be on board with this? Like, this is how you speed up a rebuild. And now I'm not saying you deviate from the plan and go out and get somebody at deadline unless he's fits the plan, right? But yeah, this is good. I mean, the Flames are up to, I believe it's a 44% chance. I'll check Money Puck as we speak right now. I believe I saw last night it was a 44% chance. And I don't think anybody saw that coming at American Thanksgiving. And you know what? You really could argue that would be statistically low based off how the Flames have played. And right now it's up today. It's up to 52% after yesterday's win.
Yeah.
I look at the standings and like, who's out in the Western Conference right now that we think will be in?
I'd have to look, honestly. I've been enjoying this ride so much. I haven't paid much attention to other teams other than, some notable stories like, Ottawa struggling in the East. I've been paying a lot of attention to that, for example. But when I bring it up and I have a look,
the only team is Vancouver that I look at and say, okay, Vancouver will probably be in, but then you look at the things they're going through. JT Miller's gone now. Pedersen's struggling. Quinn Hughes is probably facing suspension after his hit last night. Thatcher Demko, we don't really know what we're going to get from him the whole season. I sit and I look, and they're the only team on the outside, possibly Seattle too, that could get a playoff spot.
Yeah. But Seattle's without Eberle now too for 3 months or so.
I mean, I don't see Anaheim, Utah, St. Louis can't figure things out, and Nashville, they can't even get the right lineup chart out. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was quite something.
Yes. I mean, I don't see any of those teams taking big leaps forward. I mean, it's early in the year, but who's going to kick the Flames out right now? Vancouver, maybe? I don't know. Seattle?
Maybe. But I mean, realistically, if anybody's going to do it, it's Flames doing it to themselves. But there's just, and a lot of it, I guess I see because we have so much more locker room access this season. Like, it's just such a cohesive bunch. And actually, even Joel Hanley, who is your consummate seventh defenseman, I thought had a pretty good game against Minnesota yesterday, and. So there's that depth element. Tyson Berry's been good when he's played. Like,
is Hanley the new Stone?
No.
Well, just hear me out in this aspect. Stone used to be able to sit out 20 games and step in and not look like he missed a beat. And I thought Hanley looked really good last night. It did to me. At no point did I go, oh, that guy's been sitting in a press box for 10 straight games.
Yeah, call me when he rips home a few slap shots, and we'll
No,
talk.
and I'm not saying that. And boy, if we're expecting Joel Hanley to be an offensive savior for this team, we're barking at the wrong guy. But like seriously, like he came in and did you swear at all about a play he made last night at all? I didn't. I was just like,
no, I didn't really notice him. I don't understand. Like I don't understand like the lack of faith in Jake Bean. Like I can't get a read on what's going on with him. Like he just never seems to stick in the lineup, and I don't know. They signed him for 2 years. Like you'd think they'd have more faith in him than that, but obviously they see something that I don't.
I rarely get upset with him too. I rarely do. But I look at this offense, or excuse me, this defense, and is there anybody that you're really getting too mad at right now? I mean, I'm happy with what Ball's been the last 3 weeks. Anderson and Uyghur, Mirmanov has been much better.
He's been fantastic.
Been good all year. Bean and Hanley, I think they've both been fine too,
and Barry as well. Yep.
Yeah. There's been probably there's probably been more moments where I've been upset with Barry than there has been Bean and Hanley.
Yeah, I would say so. Anyway, all told, it's a fun spot to be in, and like you're saying, I don't see any reason at this point in the season to believe there's going to be some massive collapse or some of the team is going to get red hot. I mean, this is where the better teams start to balance each other out. And actually, Kevin BX made a good point about that on Hockey Night in Canada. He was saying how, a good team, their best plays here, their worst plays should be here. Ottawa, for example, their best plays here, their worst plays, you can't even see my hand if you're looking on YouTube here. It's abysmal. And Calgary's worst play thus far has not been that bad. So
no,
I don't see any reason to believe at this point. I'll go ahead and say I don't see any reason to believe at this juncture that they're not going to be a playoff team. And if guys like Andrei Kuzmenko start to put up a couple points here and there, that's only going to lend itself to the cause, right? Because this will be a tight checking, low scoring team all year, but we do need more offense. We're starting to get a little bit of that, so hopefully it continues.
Well, we're getting it from the youth, which I want to talk about here in a little bit, but we're also, doing this without statistical numbers that are mind-blowing at all. Our buddy on X, Robert Munich, put out a tweet the other day that has the 82 game point projections for these players. And
I saw that.
Some of them make you shake your head. I mean, Huberdeau's on track for 46. Kadri's been probably our most disappointing player lately, and he's on track for 41. Kuzmenko, 4 goals, 33 assists for 37 points. I'm just pointing out some of the ones that are standing up. Those I can't help but believe that that's not going to improve, right?
Oh, of course it is. Kuzmenko's going to have a hot streak in probably January. Kadri is going to be around 60 points. I mean, that's just Cgy. He's not going to stay cold all season long, right? So
let's dig into that a little bit. Why do you think lately does his demeanor, does his demeanor look off to you?
I don't know. I haven't really. I certainly haven't found it very effective on the ice. He had a better game against Minnesota, I thought.
Yep, I would agree.
Well, that play on the power play to Pospisil was brilliant, and then his board play was much better. He was much more aggressive on his stick and taking pucks out of the corner and coming away with it.
And had more jump in his step too, I thought, against Minnesota. But why do we say that about guys? Like, he's got more jump in his step. We say that about Huberdeau too sometimes, and it's like, shouldn't these guys have more jump in their step more often? I mean,
yeah, probably. I mean, Cgy was great most of last year, for example, but
he was.
It's hard to say. I mean, and actually, it's funny. I saw a lot of chatter about the Leafs apparently being interested in reacquiring Cgy, which is funny because, well, for a number of reasons. You wanted to talk about that?
I did. I was wondering if you saw that, and I did.
The guys from Buds All Day podcast, which I'd guested on before, they said even at 50% retained, they wouldn't want him, which I thought was a little surprising because I do think Cgy is exactly the kind of player the Leafs could probably use. But the Flames are not going to trade somebody for below market value when they're in the position they're in. I mean, they'd gladly move Cgy's contract if they were, 6-12 or something, but I mean, he's an important part of this team. So even if he hasn't been great lately, like we said, much better yesterday, and he will get better, I think, as the season goes on. Players like him they're still a rare breed. He's extremely irritating. He's a good playmaker. Mm-hmm. He's got a good shot.
Do you think he's as irritating as he used to be, though? Because I don't.
Of late, no, but he still draws penalties with the best of them. And I think as well, like, how many guys in the league can combine that level of offense with that agitation factor? There's Brad Marchand. There's Nazem Kadri.
Matthew
There's probably
Tkachuk.
both the Kachucks, I would say, to some extent or another. Certainly Matthew, for sure. Any others could jump to mind?
I mean, not off the top of my head, but I mean,
Brendan Gallagher is a pretty good one in Montreal.
Yeah,
The offense has never been quite as prolific as the guys we just mentioned, but I mean, yeah, it was interesting to me because it's like when they said that even at 50% to retain, we wouldn't want him. It's like, really? Like, because I find Toronto just has such a dearth of character, other than guys like Chris Tanev. It's like
he would fit in so well there. I believe. I probably think they're just deathly afraid of the same thing we are, and that's the term on this thing.
Yeah, well, and I think so too. Yeah, so.
No.
But it's fun to see that stuff, like when everything starts to settle as the season goes on, and you see the different directions these teams are going in. Then you start to hear the rumors, and guys are talking to this team, or this guy scouted 5 consecutive games from this team. Like there'll be some shakeups coming for some teams soon, and I'm starting to think Ottawa is going to be one of them.
You think so?
I was hearing some stuff about Josh Norris last week. I mean, that's a guy I'd love to acquire at Calgary, but they just can't get their shit together. Like they're so bad for how good they should be.
Is that like a rebuild gone wrong, like Buffalo? Like I
don't know, because I feel like with Ottawa,
the horn about like teardowns and how I'm so reluctant to do that, and I think changing on the fly, like Vancouver, Dallas is a team too that always just changes on the fly. Like they figure it out, out a way. And has Dallas won a cup lately? No, they haven't. But I would consider them cup contenders the last 3 seasons, and again this year. So I feel like we're maneuvering this in the right direction, right?
Was it that long ago that Dallas won a cup? Didn't they win it like? No, they lost in the final to Tampa that year.
They lost in the final that year to Tampa.
Yeah,
that was a COVID one.
Right. Yeah, that was the COVID one.
It's like a blur. That seems like a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. But I mean,
I just think of that, and it's just like, wow, that really happened.
But you know what's got me the most excited? And I guess what's got me the most against the naysayers that are wanting to, tear this thing down to the studs. I mean, we're about down to the studs, I think, because the studs that are there are contracts that we can't move, right? But I look at the young emergence of this team, and this brings us to our X Factor this week that I pull from Jack White. It says, our youngsters, Wolf, Zari, and Coronado, are going to drag this Flames team into the playoffs, aren't they? Pause the tank. And I feel like it's our youngsters that are doing it. It's not the veterans. So we should be happy then, right? If we make
absolutely.
If we make the playoffs and it's because of the play of Dustin Wolf, Matthew Coronado, and Connor Zary, should we not be like ecstatic as a Flames fan?
Absolutely. Of course we should.
Well, but I hear people still say, no, that's not the right direction. I don't know when making the playoffs isn't the right direction. And I look at Matthew Coronado, who's, he leads this team in goals right now with 6 now. Yes. I mean, so I can pull up the stats here. You look at this, and we didn't expect these young guys to be carrying the load that they're carrying right now. He has, why is it not there? Him and Hubert are tied for lead in goals with 6. Assists is Uyghur with 9, and points is Anderson with 13th, Uyghur with 12, Cotter with 11. Connor Zary is there with 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. We're getting Coronado's there with 9 points. He's a +8. Matthew Coronado is a +8. These are huge wins in my book. And I sit and I look and I'm like, we talked about last week, the X Factor said nobody brings us out of our seat. And I can tell you, I jumped out of my seat on Thursday night when Connor Zary scores the goal against the Rangers.
Me too.
And that play got me out of my seat.
Yep. And Coronado did it to me when I was in Montreal when he scored the overtime winner.
Yeah. So this is, if we could have wrote a script at the beginning of the year, Kyle, isn't this exactly how we would have wrote it?
Yeah, well, basically, but the thing that if we could have, yeah, it's like a fairy tale so far. But the thing that always makes a laugh with this, we've talked about this before. So the idea is that the Flames make the playoffs and miss it on high draft pick, and then they get bumped real quick. Well, I don't even see that necessarily happening because they have fantastic goaltending. Like, and full disclaimer, this is going to have to continue for this to become a real discussion. But let me just table it for a second. Dustin Wolf is widely agreed upon as a front runner for the Calder as of right now. If this continues, it's hard not to imagine him being discussed for another large trophy, i.e., the Vezina. I don't see that happening necessarily, but he has been that good so far. So, all that to say,
in November,
yeah,
401, 0.946 save percentage, high danger save percentage, 0.90.
Yeah,
holy cow! You're right. It's wild to say Vezina, right? But I don't think we're out of the realm of Vezina right now.
It's not outlandish. And a month ago, people would have laughed at that, and some might still, and that's fine. But if you go into the playoffs with a hot goaltender, right? You've got these young, hungry players like Matthew Coronado is a hell of a forechecker. Never mind how great his shot is. He looks great on the forecheck. And then all of a sudden, you get into a playoff series against whoever it is you're going to play, and you have guys that have been there: Nazem Kadri, Blake Coleman, Mirmanov has a cup. I can't remember if Pahal was there, and I don't think he was quite yet.
Pahal was there. Pahal got a cup.
Did he get it? Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Uncle Kurt had posted that, actually, come to think of it. Yeah. So there's 4 guys. Am I forgetting anybody in this team that has a Stanley Cup? I think it's just those 4.
Why do I feel like there's another one? Lombard.
Lomberg. Yeah, duh. Ryan Lomberg. Yeah, the Lamborghini. So those guys have been there before. They're going to be in the ears of these young guys who have everything to prove. So, all that stuff's possible. The 14-15 Flames won a series against the Canucks, and nobody thought they would. Nobody thought they'd make the playoffs. So just enjoy the ride. It's really, really fun. It's super fun.
Dustin Wolf gets his against New York. It was his 3rd straight start and 6th in 8 games.
Yeah.
And I loved what he brought to the table that night. And then we go back to Vladar on Monday, and I'd put that goaltending performance up against anything too. I thought he was very, very, very effective against Minnesota. I did.
Yeah, no, he was really good. He's had the higher quality competition, like I mentioned. Darren Haynes had said, so because he's not. I think Haynes also used the phrase, he's not the shiny new toy. But I think getting that hip issue fixed really helped him a lot. He's a better goaltender than maybe we gave him credit for. And it's funny because now you have these 2 guys who are both playing well, and you've got, the best goaltender in the AHL and Devin Cooley. And barring an injury, God forbid, I'm not sure we're even going to see him in the Flames uniform this season.
So I've noticed on 2 occasions, one being yesterday, where Vladar looked like he was in some sort of discomfort. Obviously, I'm only speculating based off what I'm watching. It's the 2nd time, though. Does that... We obviously don't want him to be injured or anybody to be injured, but is there a fear here? This team's been escaping injuries for quite some time. We've had quite a few guys taking maintenance days, with Weegar, Anderson, Backlund all taking maintenance days. Weegar taking multiple days of maintenance days this week. Has this grind schedule that we've had over the last 2 weeks starting to catch up with this team?
I don't think so, because Ryan Huska's managing it very intelligently. They won that game last weekend. He gave them 2 days off, right?
Yep. And they were home for a whole week now. So
yeah, and the only major injury was Anthony Mantha. Went kind of a freak accident in Montreal, and he's out for the year, unfortunately. In Vladar's case, I mean, maybe he's channeling some of his countryman Dominic Hasek, right? I haven't seen they made me believe yet that he's really, been too concerned about an injury, but I'll throw that out there. Maybe he's looking to draw a penalty or something.
Yeah, and then that could be because they were on top of him a couple times last night too.
Speaking of him, did you happen to hear the post game with Rasmus Andersson and Dan Vladar?
I did not.
It was funny. So they asked Anderson, and I kind of wondered this too, because even the commentators were saying, like, oh, is he going to do the stare? Is he going to do the stare? Well, he didn't do the stare, and he said in the postgame he didn't do the stare because he knew the game wasn't over. He wasn't sure it would hold up as the game winner, even though he had some candidates in the crowd picked out. And Vladar shouted across the locker room, "What? You don't trust me?"
Really? I've got to watch that.
Oh, it's funny. Like that, the team is just, they're such a team, right? And that's what's led to a lot of their success. So, it's been fun. The one thing I can't wait for now, especially the possible soul broke, is goal drought. The next thing I'm really pushing for, and I hope it happens on this Eastern road trip, is Ryan Lundberg gets his first goal back in Calgary. Or first goal in Calgary, I think it would be. I don't think he scored his first go around.
You don't think so?
I'm going to look it up. We're going to keep chatting here, and I'm going to look that up because I think
I'll trust you. I don't. I'm like, Dad, you don't trust me. I don't know, but we head on a road trip now as there's dates on Monday in Ottawa, thus the Sunday recording for us, and Wednesday in Detroit, Friday in Columbus, Saturday in Pittsburgh. So it is a Eastern swing, albeit I like the competition as we head east, but games that are going to be really, really critical.
Yeah, I was right, by the way. He's never scored in a Flames uniform.
He hasn't, huh?
Yeah,
how many games did he play on the first go round?
11 between 17-18 and 18-90.
11. Huh? Why did it seem like more than that?
Because we just love him that much.
People were upset when we lost him on waivers, and it was just like,
yep.
I didn't. You know what? You know who was a guy that nobody ever bitches that we lost on waivers, but yet he's been a decent player? Is Brett Kulak. Why has nobody ever bitched that we lost him on waivers?
I don't know. Actually, he was the guest on After Hours last night. I forgot to watch it. I meant to see that. I remember.
He was.
I remember
good.
when he. Yeah, he was really good.
Nobody ever looks back and goes, "We should have never managed that. We managed that incorrectly. We should have never lost him."
I remember when Tree Living was at a golf tournament talking about the fact that he left him on, like, he waived him or something, and it was. Yeah, for some reason it just never got the fanfare. But he's been very steady for the Oilers on a team that is not known for their steady defensemen at all, quite frankly.
He's pretty much got to be their these are probably their only steady, true stay at home.
Yeah, Ekholm's been good for them. But yeah, in terms of just a steady stay at home type, yeah, he's pretty much the only one there that jumps into my mind. At least that's
has been good.
Yeah. Yeah. Side note, happy 52nd birthday to Forever Aflame Freddie Brathwaite.
He's 52, huh?
He's 52. You feel old yet?
No, because I'm 52 on Tuesday.
Our birthdays are that close. Did we talk about this?
No, we haven't talked about this. You know what? Is he really just turning 52 right now?
Yeah.
I didn't know I was like literally the same age to almost the day of him.
Yeah, that's funny. So your birthday's on the 26th?
Yep, I share a birthday with Chris Osgood. He's the exact same day as me.
Huh. My birthday's on December 1st, and I don't know who I share it with, actually.
You know that our birthdays are close, aren't they?
Yeah. Sagittarius, baby.
Yeah. That's probably why we get along.
Probably.
We give each other a lot of hard times, but we get along.
Well, it's just the nature of podcasting, being a hockey fan. Woody Allen and Bette Midler and Pablo Escobar. I share a birthday with those three people.
How about hockey guys? Like, I don't care about them. Give me a good hockey guy.
I'm trying to find one. Oh, Noel Cherry. Noel Cherry and I share a birthday. Of course, he's younger than me because they probably all are. That's the only one I can find so far. Anyway, I'll get back to work on that and I'll get back to you.
Yep, you get back to me on that. You know, another thing I want to talk about in the NHL right now, and this is off the Flames a little bit, but I still want to talk about it because it's interesting to me. The Bruins fire Montgomery this week, and today he's hired by the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, 5 days in between jobs.
Is he that highly sought after that they can their guy? Is it Bannister, I believe they canned? To put Montgomery into place. I know the Blues have been struggling lately, but holy cow. Like,
well, it's funny to me because I saw the stat earlier. So Claude Julien and Bruce Cassidy were also only unemployed for like 7 and 8 days respectively before they were snapped up when the Bruins fired them.
Boudreau do that too? Oh, you know what I heard this week? I meant to ask you about this. We're getting way off topic. Who cares? I heard somebody say that Daryl Sutter coached 2 NHL teams in 1 year, just like Montgomery's going to be doing now. What year was that? Why am I drawing a blank on?
That was 02-03 when he coached San Jose and Calgary.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because I remember he got the team to like a.
Then he got brought
finish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the following season. Yeah, people often forget he actually came in the year prior.
Yeah. Late that year, correct?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it was in like February or March, I think.
Yeah.
San Jose. He was oh my god, he was fired on my birthday in 2002. 24 games into the 02-03 season. And then 4 weeks later, on December 28th, he was named head coach of the Calgary Flames, replacing Greg Gilbert, who I have never forgiven for running Mark Savard out of town. So,
why are you such a Savard guy? That's crazy.
Because he went on to be one of the best playmakers of his generation until he got injured.
He did.
And we gave him away for nothing. Oh, I'm never going to stop writing about this. And it's not even just that. It's that Gilbert ran him out of town and still got fired. Like, couldn't we have one or the other?
Exactly. We lost both of them. You have any extra money? Have you been buying any jerseys lately?
No, I have another mortgage, so I haven't been buying anything lately. Have
you seen the Vegas odds for the Flames?
No.
Plus 1250. 12,500. Yeah.
Wow.
They have there's better. This is how stupid this is. The Islanders are plus 6,600. Ottawa's plus 7,500. Utah's plus 7,500. Buffalo's plus 10,000. Seattle's plus 10,000. And then it's Calgary and Detroit at plus 12,500. Holy crap. So Vegas thinks that Ottawa has a better chance to win the cup than the Flames.
Well, on paper to start the year they did, especially when they got Allmark, but that clearly isn't the case. Huh?
I never bet on my team, but I almost feel like throwing 100 down.
Yeah, why not? You could be a very rich dude. I can't see a Canadian team winning the cup in my lifetime. I just don't see that happening.
Come on, we're doing this show to win a cup someday. My God,
I know I'm going to keep doing it. I just can't see it happening, right?
Mr. Negative Sunday Morning here. Yet Kyle shooting off that Calgary will never win the cup in his lifetime.
I love to be wrong about certain things, and this is one of them. So.
Me too. I've been wrong about some important things lately.
Oh man, that's a whole other kettle of fish. Anyway, none of it to do with hockey.
Don't lose your hope. Kyle and I are rarely correct.
Yeah, exactly. Right. What else we're going to go? What else has been happening in the league of note? I'm drawing a blank with something I wanted to. Oh, the Penguins. Do you think Sidney Crosby is going to finish the year at Pittsburgh Penguin, or is he gone at the deadline?
No, he'll finish. He'll finish his career as a Penguin.
Man, what type of going out with a whimper? Man, what a trash team that is. It's terrible.
There's some teams in this league right now that are really not good for. How do I put this? For a Bettman run league that you want, you want the parity, right? And we all want that as fans. Like I love it, but I sit and I look at the standings here for the whole league, right? Chicago is not good. Bedard's not scoring. There's all kinds of problems there. That rebuild looks like it has zero direction to it. San Jose's rebuild looks to have zero direction to it in my mind. Nashville took the swing at the fence and missed terribly.
Well, they beat Winnipeg last night, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So, I mean, and Stamkos is heating up, so maybe that gets better.
They're 7-11, dude. There are 17 points. That's going to be a long road to hoe. Yeah. I sit and I look at these teams that have been rebuilding, right? And I keep preaching to this because I keep wanting to be right on this. But Chicago's rebuild's going like shit. San Jose's is going bad. Ottawa's isn't going well. Detroit's isn't going well. Anaheim's isn't going really speedy. Philadelphia's isn't going well either. And Buffalo still is the 16th best team in the league.
I think Buffalo's finally starting to turn a corner, but
I feel
the
like
teams,
they've won 7 of their last 10. Buffalo actually looks really good right now.
yeah,
And I want them to be good. I want Buffalo. I don't know. I've always kind of been had a soft spot for Buffalo because their fan base is so good and they deserve to win in that community so much. So, yeah, I'd like to see that, but this rebuild has just been a bad dream.
yeah. Well, it's led to some interesting stuff too, like amongst the teams you just mentioned. So, like Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy in 17, 18 maybe, and now like he's been a healthy scratch. He played yesterday, but like, man, like you got to think he's going to get flipped somewhere. Like I just can't believe how much of a cliff that guy's fallen off of, despite some injuries.
We don't need a winger, but did you not at some point think that he'd end up in Calgary? Because I did.
Well, he's from there, right? So I certainly hoped for it. I mean, it would still be a fun story, right? Yeah, he'll wind up somewhere, I'm sure. And then,
if only he could play center,
right? And be a few years younger, I guess. But now with like Dostal and Anaheim, playing so like John Gibson, I mean, are the Oilers looking at him, for a goaltender, for example? Like
Edmonton has to be calling around, do they not? I mean, are they gonna kick this Skinner can down the road even more? He's not doing well at all. He never really has done well. He has good games. Good games don't get you into the playoffs. And this Edmonton team, they need good goaltending because God knows their defense isn't good.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So we'll have to see what happens with that. They're definitely kicking tires around the league because, like you said, they have to be. And I've heard a few times that they are, but I'm not sure who else is out there for viable candidates. The goalie market's a little bit of a tough one right now, but
when's Gibson going to be considered too old? Seriously.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy to think he was so good? And now, like, if you go through the list of American goaltenders, like for the Four Nations Cup, for example, you'd have Hellebuck, Ottinger for sure, certainly Wolf, all ahead of him in your depth chart.
Did you hear last night on the broadcast? Ottinger and Hellebuck are pretty much 1-2.
Yeah.
Hellebuck 1, Ottinger 2. Did you hear that I can't remember which one of the broadcasters brought it up that maybe they would consider a Dustin Wolf because if they're projecting out, if they're looking at the recent body of work, he would be a front runner. And if they were going to project out to the Olympics, he would be a front runner.
I think is
this out of line? Do we sound like too much homers saying that we think that Dustin Wolf could fill that role? Because there's a lot of good American goaltenders.
Greg Millen actually mentioned it, why wouldn't they? He's one of the best goaltenders in the league this year. And he has something that those other two goaltenders don't necessarily have. He's extremely fast. So if you go, I think back to the 2002 Salt Lake Olympics, like Curtis Joseph had a really rough start against Team Sweden. Burud kind of came in and took over from there. Well, if one of your big goalies in Hellebuck or Ottinger happens to struggle and you wanted to go with a different approach for a game, like Wolf's going to bring something different to the table. Do I think he plays in the Four Nations Cup? Of course I don't.
No.
But I think his intangibles, his speed, his youth, like I think he's somebody that you would certainly consider bringing along for the ride. So you mentioned that, which is one of the funny things, interesting things I should say we heard on the broadcast. The other thing that was said, and I wonder if you caught it too, did you see how they showed the fight between Corey Sarich and Bill Guerin from like 25 years ago?
I saw parts of it. I was actually cleaning some stuff
Did
up.
you hear what John Abbott said afterwards during the second period?
What about the ugly Bruins jersey?
He was shitting all over the Pooh Bear jersey.
That is an awful jersey. It's the worst jersey there is, isn't there? I mean,
well, I have a soft spot for all those late 90s jerseys because they were different. And I admit it's ugly, but he was so belligerent in his mention of that jersey.
Do you know what two that stand out to me is really bad? There's 3 that stand out bad. I hate Nashville's mustard colored jersey with the
Sabertooth Tiger one?
Yeah, I hate the Sabertooth one. I hate the Kings jersey, the white one that had like the king up here and then like
the Gretzky. Well, yeah, Gretzky wore that. Yeah,
Gretzky wore that. And then I also hate the Ducks one with the duck like flying through the air with a hockey stick in his hand.
The Mighty Wing one. There was some real bad ones. Real bad ones. Actually,
I still think the worst jersey I've ever seen in hockey was the Colorado Avalanche outdoor game.
I must have repressed that memory because I can't even picture.
Oh my gosh. It was the mountains. It looked like a grandma sewed it in a sweater.
Oh yeah. But you know what? Most of those Stadium Series jerseys are either they're great or they're dog shit. There's no between with those. That's such a fine line. Ugh, man. Oh God, I'm thinking of a bunch of them now.
I want to switch gears and ask you one question before we let our listeners go about their day.
What do you got?
The Flames have been in a tremendous amount of overtimes, a tremendous amount of 1-goal games, and a tremendous amount of shootouts. And I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it seems like they're pretty good in our favor, right?
Yep.
And one of the reasons is because of the shootouts. And I hate shootouts with a passion. If they ended them tomorrow, I would cheer. I miss or just where every team gets a point and we go home, right? I don't like solving. I'm fine with them. If you tie,
I would just go sudden death overtime till the game's over because someone's going to score eventually if it's 3-on-3.
Well, 3-on-3 wouldn't take that long. If you did a 10-minute 3-on-3, what I would do if I was in charge is I would do 5 minutes of 4-on-4, 5 minutes of 3-on-3. It would solve 95% of them. If it doesn't get solved, both team gets a point. Let's go home. Okay. Yeah. I miss that. But the shootout is a factor. And if you head to, and you're Ryan Huska on the bench tomorrow, and the Flames go to a shootout against Ottawa, which, God, I hope we don't go to a shootout with Ottawa. Who are you sending out?
Who the fuck do you think I'm sending out?
I want to know who you're sending out.
Costco, baby.
You're sending him out, huh?
Well, that move that he does, I did a variation of that move and pick up last week because it's not hard to do, and it's also like when you move to the center the way that he does, and it's funny, he just keeps working. But the reason I said this to a buddy earlier, the reason I think he keeps working is when you get the goaltender moving, you have several places you can shoot that puck. You're far enough out, he can't poke check you, and you can try to roof it. You can try to go 5-hole. Like the way that your stick is cocked at that angle.
He shoots the same spot. Like when our goalie is going to get the video memo on this?
I think he was a career AHLer, so they probably weren't paying any attention. But now that he's had some success with it, right? But he gets the goaltender moving.
I know.
So that's the best thing you can do in these cases, right? So
you're sending him out. Who else are you sending out?
Typically Kuzmenko because he is creative. Zary. I'd go Connor Zary. I love Connor Zary. Actually, I'm wearing a Connor Zary t-shirt.
He's going up my likability chart every time I watch him play. I worry a little bit, and I text you on this. This guy's got to start burying some, and he did that against the Rangers. He's getting a lot more chances than anybody else on the team, and I just want to keep seeing that puck go in the net, right?
Well, it had to happen eventually. He's had so many chances that he's created so many of his own chances. Eventually it's going to happen. And now he's got a little bit of a point streak. I expect it'll continue in Ottawa because he's a very good player and he's probably feeling a little bit more confident. He's kind of the key thing, Coronado's a sniper. He's been great. Wolf has been unbelievable. But Zary, if he can continue to assert himself as an effective center and start, accumulating some points, that changes the discussion around this team. What we need a hell of a lot more.
This road trip's going to tell us a little bit more about what he is at center too, I think. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
Be nice and early for me for a change. 8 p.m. starts. 10 or 11.
Right down your alley as the Flames head to Ottawa Monday night, on to Detroit Wednesday, to Columbus on Friday, and they end up the 4-game road trip in Pittsburgh on Saturday night. Kyle, it was a good week. Can we come back next week with another week of this positive?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be. If we go 3-1, that'd be great. I could live with 2-2. I'm not gonna have to live with things. But the vibes, the record might not be as good, but the vibe should be good. This is a really capable team. So let's just hope that Ottawa doesn't figure this shit out, put it all together in Monday night's game. Which I think, by the way, that is also the Amazon Prime game.
It is an Amazon Prime game, so we will have it in between Monday night ahead of us. Flames fans, have a great week. Kyle and I'll be back next week talking Flames hockey. We will break down the American Thanksgiving and talk about, is this team really a playoff team? And can they keep this going? We're liking what we see right now. Have a good week, Flames fans. We'll talk next week.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.